flow into gratitude for this principle. Most people believe they are designing a room, but a deeper observation reveals something far more fascinating. The room is quietly designing them. Every wall, every object, every source of light, every empty corner, every pathway between furniture, every texture, every repeated visual pattern becomes part of an invisible conversation with the brain. You rarely notice this conversation because it happens beneath conscious awareness, yet it influences attention, emotion, decision-making, and even the amount of mental energy available for meaningful work. The extraordinary realization is that interior design is not merely about decoration. It is about constructing an environment that continuously shapes the probability of your next thought and your next action. Imagine walking into two different rooms. Both contain the same furniture, the same budget, and the same amount of space. Yet one immediately feels calm, clear, and inviting, while the other feels mentally exhausting without any obvious reason. What changed? Not the person, not the intelligence, not the intention. The hidden difference lies in how much work the brain must perform simply to exist inside that environment. Every unnecessary object silently asks for attention. Every confusing layout demands another tiny decision. Every visual interruption competes with your ability to focus. Individually, these demands appear insignificant, but together they create an invisible tax on the mind that repeats every single day. Now view the room through the lens of mathematics. Imagine that every unnecessary visual interruption removes only a tiny fraction of your attention. The loss appears almost invisible, yet hundreds of tiny interruptions experienced every day quietly accumulate. The reverse is equally powerful. Every unnecessary decision removed from your environment returns a small amount of mental energy. One improvement changes little. Many thoughtful improvements begin reinforcing one another. Clear pathways encourage smoother movement. Intentional lighting guides attention naturally. Organized storage reduces searching. Balanced visual weight creates a feeling of stability. Small reductions in friction begin compounding into a noticeably different experience. Psychology reveals another hidden layer. Human attention is naturally drawn toward contrast, novelty, and unfinished patterns. When everything competes equally for attention, the mind must constantly decide what deserves focus. This continuous filtering consumes mental resources. An intentionally designed room gently answers many of those questions before the brain even asks them. The environment quietly communicates where to look, where to rest, where to work, and where to pause. Instead of forcing attention, it guides attention. That guidance often feels like peace, even though it is actually the result of countless invisible design decisions working together. Neuroscience adds another remarkable perspective. The brain is constantly predicting what it expects to encounter. Environments that are coherent, familiar, and thoughtfully organized reduce unnecessary prediction errors, allowing more mental resources to be directed toward learning, creativity, meaningful conversations, or deep work. This does not mean every space should look identical or minimal. It means that spaces often become easier to navigate mentally when they are intentionally arranged rather than accidentally accumulated. The environment begins supporting the mind instead of competing with it. Now imagine your home as a silent partner. Every morning it either makes important actions slightly easier or slightly harder. If the place where you read invites reading, reading becomes more probable. If the place where you work supports concentration, focused work becomes more probable. If the place where you rest genuinely encourages recovery, meaningful rest becomes more probable. The room is quietly changing probabilities without speaking a single word. That is the hidden mathematics of thoughtful design. It does not force behavior. It gently shifts the likelihood of better behavior. This leads to a profound first principle. Beautiful spaces are not valuable simply because they look beautiful. They become valuable because they reduce invisible resistance between intention and action. Every thoughtful placement, every source of natural light, every carefully chosen texture, every organized surface, every comfortable pathway, and every intentional empty space contributes to an environment that quietly supports the life you are trying to build. Design is no longer decoration. It becomes invisible architecture for daily decisions. Now imagine walking through your own room with entirely new eyes. Instead of asking whether it looks impressive, ask a different question. What behaviors is this space encouraging every single day? Is it encouraging distraction or concentration? Calm or restlessness? Clarity or confusion? Creation or delay? Suddenly every object becomes more than an object. It becomes part of an invisible system influencing how you think, how you feel, and how you act. Flow into gratitude for this principle. Every thoughtfully designed space becomes a quiet ally that serves you thousands of times without asking for recognition. Long before remarkable achievements become visible, the environments surrounding those achievements have often been gently shaping attention, reducing friction, supporting consistency, and making meaningful action just a little easier every single day. The room was never simply around you. In countless invisible ways, it was helping shape the person you were becoming.